911, what's the address of the emergency?
Yeah, this Mexican here, and he doesn't have a driver's license. I'm on Sullivan's Island.
Okay, what's the address of the emergency?
Address, give me just a second, sweetheart. I'll let you know.
Okay.
It's 2523 Ion Avenue.
And he self-reported his own crime. Now, why would you do a thing like that? Why would you self-report your own crime? If not for you thinking that that's what you've been empowered to do. Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. My name is Reese Waters, and I'm troubled. Today, we need to talk about ICE. No, that wasn't it, but I am troubled by that as well. I don't know if I'm more troubled that y'all ran that clip or that he laid himself down so gently. I've never seen anybody that uncommitted to the fraud. I mean, at least take a tumble for the lawsuit. He's not even willing to do that. No, I'm talking about immigration and customs enforcement. We saw well before inauguration just how problematic it could be with people running the streets yelling ICE.
Do you actually work for ICE?
No, not at all. Nope.
Explain the outfit.
It's $29.99 on Amazon. I would recommend buying a small if you're my size. This one's a little too loose for my liking. But yeah, if you want some entertainment, wear this and go to a Home Depot in a sanctuary city like where I live right now, Washington, D.C., and you'll see all the illegals, not all of them, but you can maybe see a lot of them start to run away, and you feel like a group fitness instructor. It's really good.
And you actually think that's funny?
I think it's hilarious, absolutely. What's not funny is them illegally...
There you have it, everybody. One of the worst people I've seen here at CPAC, and that's saying something.
And apparently, as is the custom of the last 10 years of this MAGA movement that we are apparently still in the midst of, people saw that and thought it was a good idea. Y'all remember back in February, we got this report. Multiple ICE impersonation arrests made during nationwide immigration crackdown. Now this one blew my mind because I didn't even know that ICE officers came in different shades. Yeah, all the video that I've seen, all the clips and all the pictures I've seen have been pretty monotone. Yeah, they've been pretty monotonous, yeah. I didn't know they came in different shades, and I don't know if he is aware that immigrants and migrants come in brown. You know what I mean? They definitely come in brown. So I can't see stopping somebody and asking for their papers. Let me see your papers. Let me see your papers.
Well, there's something you don't see every day.
How did you even get this number? This phone been off for 2 weeks. I would like to thank Aura for sponsoring this video. I don't know if you've ever tried to Google your name or email and shuddered at the results of what you found. It's terrifying, and there are companies that are called data brokers that sell your data, and they do it to pretty much whoever is willing to pay. That is why I recommend today's sponsor, Aura, to my family and friends. They take care of the hard part for you, automatically removing your info from these sites and keeping it off. Now, I just found Aura a few months ago, and it's wild what they were able to find in a short amount of time. But Aura goes even further. As an all-in-one digital security, you may already have a digital security tool, but not having Aura is like locking the front door, but leaving the back door open, which my wife has told me I'm not allowed to do anymore. You can get alerts if your personal info is found on the dark web, or it gives you real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking, 24/7 monitoring. Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection, and they have U.S. fraud experts ready to help 24/7. At least this way, we can fight back. And that is why I choose Aura. Try Aura for free for 14 days at aura.com/Reese Waters. Again, that's aura.com/Reese Waters. And those 2 weeks are enough for them to discover places where your data is being exposed and sold. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable, and you shouldn't either. Now, we already saw last year how easily this could be done at CPAC. And you heard the mindset. I mean, easily done. And we saw in February that this was in fact something that people were willing to do. And despite all of that, this was not something that was a big enough priority for them to stamp out. So now this is what we got.
I have asked for IDs. Can you please tell me that you refuse to give us your IDs?
We don't need to give you IDs.
You don't need to give us
federal.
IDs.
We do not need to give you IDs.
So how do we know you're federal? How do we know you're federal?
That was the scene in Great Barrington, Massachusetts late last month, as masked men with guns grabbed a gardener from his worksite and drove away with him in an unmarked car with blacked out windows. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, has since confirmed those masked men were federal immigration agents. But at the time, there was no way to know that other than trusting their word. One of the witnesses who filmed that video later told the Washington Post, quote, "It could have been like a band of the Proud Boys or something." This is video from the LA Times last Monday, showing what witnesses say was an ICE raid in Compton in which officers arrested 5 to 7 people. I have to say, witnesses say it was an ICE raid because even more than a week later than when that happened, no federal agency has confirmed that the people in that video were theirs. And this is not isolated. I mean, all across the country, immigrants are being arrested by federal immigration agents who provide little to no identification and who are frequently masked. Unfortunately, we don't even have to speculate about the dangers of that practice.
And let's also keep in mind this ethos and this spirit that has been pushed out of not actually challenging and demanding that people identify themselves. Just comply. Isn't that what they all threw at us during the Black Lives Matter protests? Just comply, which then empowers people like I outlined in the beginning to do dirt.
We know them. In late January, a man in North Carolina was arrested for allegedly pretending to be an ICE officer to assault a woman. In April, a woman in Florida was arrested for allegedly posing as ICE to kidnap her ex-boyfriend's wife. And just last week in Philadelphia, there was this.
This man was posing as a federal immigration officer when he walked into this car repair business right next door to the Philadelphia Police 15th District and Northeast detectives and robbed it Sunday afternoon. The man wearing a badge, blue latex gloves, a tactical vest saying security law enforcement agent with a black baseball hat and sunglasses on. This second surveillance photo shows him when he zip-tied the cashier, who told me she's from the Dominican Republic, a legal resident since 2007, and says every time she turned around to try to get a good look at the man's face, he strongly twisted her around, bruising her arm, telling her he was with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, better known as ICE.
If there was a rash of people impersonating law enforcement in general, right, to perpetrate various crimes, I would think that would be something they would take extremely seriously. Yet this is something that not only we saw coming, but something that has increased. And yet I have heard nothing from our federal government and the authorities about this issue, tamping down on this issue or punishing crimes such as these in a way that would deter copycats. Nothing. It's almost as if they say that the affected populations, which in this case would be the immigrant population, Latino communities, women, it's almost as if they're saying they don't matter and they don't care. Because not responding with trends like this is what that means.
Considering how wrong arrests by officers who do not identify themselves can go, I want you to take a look at this video from Pasadena, California, northeast of Los Angeles, from just this morning. You can see men waiting at a bus stop outside of a donut shop, multiple unmarked cars pull up beside the bus stop. You see the cars right there. We then see masked armed men then get out of the car and chase two men from the bus stop. Chase them, handcuffing them and taking them away. Local advocates say 6 immigrants were taken in total. As those unmarked cars were driving away, a bystander attempted to take a photo of one of the car's license plates. You can see it there, only to have the driver get out of the car and point what appears to be a gun at him. Again, this is an incident in which we have to say this appears to be federal law enforcement.
Did you hear what she said? This appears to be ICE. We don't even know. This appears to be ICE. So either we have officers with our federal government that are pulling a gun on a crowded street on a civilian for the non-crime of taking a photo of his license plate. Either that, or we have people impersonating ICE officers in the midst of a kidnapping, pointing a gun on a crowded street at a civilian for the non-crime of taking a photo of his license plate. And you know what? As disgusting as either of those are, we just have to debate it because apparently transparency is a thing of the past.
But local officials don't know for certain, and ICE isn't commenting. Now, we believe that this incident was almost definitely ICE, but we can't say that for certain, and that is a problem, a huge problem.
So I could get why you wouldn't want to acknowledge that if they were ICE officers who engage in that kind of behavior and there's video, I could get why you would not want to verify that they are ICE officers. But then that forces us to consider the possibility that they're not, and they're out here moving in such a way and apparently escaping unscathed because we got no answer to the case because you don't want to acknowledge what your officers did.
Pasadena residents are understandably furious about those men being snatched off the street, especially this way today. So tonight, activists and Pasadena residents organized a vigil on the very same street corner where these immigrants were taken.
Now let's also consider this, that a clear line of demarcation between actual officers of immigration and perpetrators would not only give the public ease, but it makes the job and the work of the actual agents themselves safer. Not having to ask and not having to grapple with whether or not these are actual ICE agents makes their job safer. But even with all of this mass confusion of these impersonators out there complicating the situations that they walk into, apparently that's okay as long as the panic and the frenzy and the hysteria of the public reaches a critical mass.
So my question for you, Attorney General Bondi, is given the number of DOJ employees currently conducting immigration enforcement activities in support of DHS, how are you going to ensure that the safety of the public and the officers, if they continue to not follow required protocol to identify themselves as law enforcement?
And Senator Peters, that's the first time that issue has come to me about them you're saying that law enforcement officers, when they cover their faces.
Right.
I do know they are being doxxed, as you said. They're being threatened. Their families are being threatened. You know,
Again, I get that, but they have to identify themselves. There is an insignia oftentimes. They have to identify themselves as law enforcement. People think, here's a person coming up to me, not identified, covering themselves. They're kidnapping. They'll probably fight back. That endangers the officer as well. And that's a serious situation. People need to know that they're dealing with a federal law enforcement official.
Senator, I would be happy to look at that issue with you and talk to all of our partner law enforcement agencies, but I can assure you that if they're covering their faces now, it's to protect themselves.
It's the panic and the hysteria of the public that is the point. And you have made that clear by virtue of your non-action. Now, you remember those cases that I told you about in February? In South Carolina, Sean Michael Johnson was charged with kidnapping and impersonating a police officer after allegedly detaining a group of Latino men along a Charleston County road. Johnson is accused of willfully and unlawfully presenting himself as an ICE agent and detaining a vehicle of individuals from moving, according to court records. The incident was recorded by one of the victims. It took place on Sullivan's Island near Charleston on January 29th.
The man captured on video taunting a man in his truck on Sullivan's Island was given bond in court tonight. This video prompted a huge response on social media. You're looking at 34-year-old Sean Johnson. He was seen confronting the driver of a truck before taking his keys on Sullivan Island. He's now facing additional charges. The video also shows Johnson asking the driver if he's from Mexico before taking the keys out of the truck's ignition. This also happened after Johnson called 911 to report someone driving without a license.
You from Mexico? You're going back.
A South Carolina man has been charged with kidnapping and impersonating a police officer after officials say he detained a group of Latino men in Charleston County, South Carolina. 33-year-old Sean Michael Johnson is accused of willfully and unlawfully presenting himself as an ICE agent and detaining a vehicle of individuals from moving, according to court records.
Parky. No, you cannot drive, bro. You have not a license. You have no license. We're going back.
In addition to taking their keys, Johnson also blocked the men's car with his van so they could not drive away, according to court documents.
You know, if you don't have a license, you cannot drive a car.
Now, as disgusting as that was, and one thing that I'm sure a lot of my viewers know is the MAGAs don't need a reason to be racist, but allowing them to run around as ICE officers and impersonate officers of the law of our government gives them an additional outlet for their racism. But the crazy part about this is somehow this mindset was news to people in November. I can't do this video without making this point that somehow this mindset and thought process, pig Latin he said, somehow this is new to some of y'all, which is what got us here. I have to make that point. Now, here's what's crazy. This man actually called 911. This man actually called 911.
This also happened after Johnson called 911 to report someone driving without a license. We'll play part of that 911 call right now.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Yeah, this Mexican here, and he doesn't have a driver's license. I'm on Sullivan's Island.
Okay, what's the address of the emergency?
Address, give me just a second, sweetheart. I'll let you know.
Okay.
It's 2523 Ion Avenue.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
Well, I got this Mexican here, and he doesn't have a driver's license.
Okay, is he driving or just walking around, or what's going on that you know he doesn't have a driver's license?
He's driving. He doesn't have a driver's license. Yeah, he's illegal.
Johnson was originally charged with 1 count of felony kidnapping and misdemeanor charges of impersonating a law enforcement officer, larceny, and assault and battery. He turned himself into police Friday night and was taken to the Charleston County Jail, but posted bond over the weekend. The Sullivan's Island Police Department says after continuing its investigation into that viral video, they obtained warrants charging Johnson with 2 more counts of kidnapping. Johnson then turned himself in again this afternoon and was taken back to the Charleston County Jail. Johnson appeared in bond court tonight. He was given a $200,000 surety bond split between those two additional charges. The judge ordered standard bond restrictions, which forbid Johnson to contact the victims or travel without 5 blocks of their workplaces, homes, or churches.
This man, Stop Folks himself, called to say that they're driving without a driver's license, which he wouldn't know had he not stopped them himself and impersonated ICE. And he self-reported his own crime. Now, why would you do a thing like that? Why would you self-report your own crime? If not for you thinking that that's what you've been empowered to do. In Philadelphia, police charged a Temple University student in connection with the alleged impersonation of ICE officers on campus. The incident, which occurred Saturday night, involved 3 individuals, 2 wearing shirts with police and ICE in white lettering, attempting to enter a residence hall on campus, Temple University said in a statement. After being denied entrance to the residence hall, they were later found disrupting a local business. Philadelphia police arrested 22-year-old Aiden Stiegelman, charging him with impersonating a public servant, with the university saying he's been placed on interim suspension. 2 other suspects involved in the incident fled the scene in a light-colored SUV, according to Philly PD.
And Joanne, police say one of those involved is a Temple student.
That's right. Philadelphia police, right now the lead agency on this investigation. 1 student was arrested so far, and there is a newly released surveillance photo of one of the other suspects. Student prank or stunt for social media clicks or whatever it was. Police here and at Temple are calling this a serious crime.
Reports indicate 2 individuals were impersonating U.S. Immigration Enforcement Unit, ICE agents. At first, I didn't think it was real. I thought it was it's kind of crazy because I didn't think something like that would actually happen around here.
No joke here. Philadelphia and University police are calling it a crime. And they arrested Temple University senior 22-year-old Aiden Stiegelman for impersonating an immigration and enforcement officer.
To find out that it was students who were doing something like this really doesn't make a lot of sense with the culture of Temple, and I'd like to say that they are the exception and not the rule for the mindsets that are here on campus.
Now, I mentioned the conclusion that I am forced to draw based on the lack of action and clarity with regards to ICE officers and this rash of impersonators that has been unleashed, are that the affected communities don't matter. We've seen it with immigrants. Now we're going to see it with women. In Raleigh, North Carolina, Carl Thomas Bennett was arrested for allegedly impersonating an ICE officer and assaulting a woman at a Motel 6, threatening to deport her if she didn't comply. Police reports indicate that Bennett threatened to deport the victim if she did not have sex with him and displayed a business card with a badge on it.
And I'm Gerald Owens. The victim in this case was found at a local motel. WR's Aaron Thomas is live in Raleigh tonight where the crime took place. Aaron, what are you learning from law enforcement?
This is what Raleigh police have told us, Gerald. They said that they responded to this Motel 6 behind me just yesterday morning. It's located off of Capitol Boulevard. That's where they responded to that victim. Tonight we spoke with the local group advocating for the rights of immigrants. They're worried about situations and scams targeting this population. This Motel 6, located on Appliance Court in Raleigh, the site of a reported on Sunday. Arrest warrants say this man, Carl Bennett, went to the location and committed a number of crimes, including multiple sex offenses. Bennett, according to these documents, threatened to deport the victim if she did not have sex with him and displayed a business card with a badge on it.
This is kind of a perfect storm, what's happening right now, and it's opening up opportunities for people who are not doing any kind of law enforcement to take advantage of people in terrible ways.
Nikki Bayina is with Siembra NC, a grassroots organization focused on defending the rights of immigrants. She sees this as an example of people preying on the sense of fear some immigrants have with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE.
I think we're waiting for comment from ICE on a great number of things, and certainly a great number of cases where these bad actors are running out there having found a new vehicle for their misdeeds. But one thing we absolutely have to do is make sure we spread the word and alert people of the danger that could be lurking.
Just a quick reminder, if a masked man comes up to you saying he's a member of ICE and asks you to come with him, don't. Over the past couple weeks, all around the United States, multiple women have come forward claiming that men have tried to abduct them while pretending to be members of ICE. So far, it's been very easy for these men to try and pretend to be ICE members. Members of ICE don't have a standardized uniform. Usually all you see them wearing is tactical vests, masks, and glasses. Completely unidentifiable. When ICE conducts these raids, they just go and they take people. They don't provide identifications. Oftentimes they don't have warrants, and they will just come and try and take people. And many malicious people have been trying to take advantage of this and try and abduct women. So in the future, if a man wearing a mask comes up to you and claims to be a part of ICE, and if he comes up to you without an ID and without a warrant signed by a judge, do not believe him. There are evil people out there trying to take advantage of the chaos that is happening in this country right now. Evil people that want to harm women in their own self-interests. Not only if this happens to you, if you see this happening to anybody, stay vigilant and call for help. Do whatever you can to stop these evil people trying to take advantage of this horrible situation. Stay safe, everybody.
And then there's this from Feminist News. When all you have to do is yell you're an ICE agent, it makes it hard to know what's true and what's not. Show your badge, show your face, show your warrant. It's not hard, so why are they making it so difficult? And they actually include an additional case of Leon Howell, who told a 51-year-old Hispanic woman in Brooklyn he was an ICE agent and directed her to a nearby stairwell where he punched her, tried to assault her, and stole her chain, cell phone, and purse. The question that was asked is, why are they making it so difficult? And the only conclusion that I can draw from this very intentional blurring of the lines is that it's supposed to be, that it's intentional, that the panic and confusion and misinformation is the point. And to the previous video that was alerting women to the dangers out there, who talked about how there are evil people out there, they are more than aware that there are evil people out there. In fact, they can be very close. They know them up close and personal, okay? When they are unleashed and allowed new ways to victimize the public, exactly what does that make the system? That would make the system complicit in all this, now wouldn't it? And that's why I'm troubled. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. As I mentioned on last Tuesday night's live,
I try and avoid any vigorous exercise or anything that will cause me to lose my enhancements.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant the other thing. But while we're on the topic, y'all stay safe out here. This ain't the same sun that we grew up with.
I did not sign up for this. When I prayed during the winter months, I asked the Lord to make it warm. I did not say, Lord, please bring the devil from hell and have him sit his ass crack on earth. That's not what I asked for.
As I mentioned on last Tuesday night's live, I am a bit of a perfectionist and I have a tendency to tinker with videos until they're ready to go out to the public. But that means there's so much content that you guys haven't gotten a chance to see. So for you members, I'm going to start pushing out director's cuts of some of my videos. So be on the lookout for a new flood of content.
I just love you.
There is a link to membership in the description box to all of the videos. And that also will be the case for those of you that have joined my Patreon over at patreon.com/Reese Waters. Now, so many of you guys sent me so many incredible cuts of music for me to integrate into my videos, and I have started doing that. So keep your ear out for some new music, and sincere thank you to everybody for being a part of this community and making it everything that it has become. And while we're on the topic, I want to give a very special shout out to Goshen, who's been making it rain in all of the premieres. A sincere debt of gratitude to you. It kind of reminds me of when we reached 400,000 subscribers and we had that live and Jackie James and Nancy made it rain that whole time. And And we're creeping pretty close to another milestone now, aren't we? Yeah, 500, 50%. Yeah, that's always been special to me because when I was a teenager, when I would go out and get a phone number, it was a 50% chance that it was a real home. Or like a gas station or the library or something like that. Those were the days.